Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Our guest today is Australia's leading sex therapist, specialising in helping her clients overcome sexual issues. Over the years, she has shown thousands of her clients how to become the best lovers they can possibly be and create amazing sex lives. And today, she's going to show you how to have great sex. So please put your hands together and help us welcome to the Mental Detox podcast our good friend, Helena Nista.
Welcome.
Thank you so much. Such a pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure. And we're really excited to go deep into this topic because over the years, we've found that sex has been very taboo in a conversation in families and in business. But after working with more than 4,500 people, it's one of these things where we find our clients have a lot of sabotage in this area. So we'd like to help them get some clarity today and hopefully climax by the end of our time together. We're going to try to make them climax in 12 minutes today.
Yes.
And even less is best. Now, what's been your journey to become a sex therapist, and what are some of the challenges that you've had as you've been building your business?
Well, long story short, when I was younger, I desperately needed a sex therapist myself. I grew up in Poland in a very Catholic household. So I grew up with a lot of toxic and limiting ideas and beliefs around my body, my sexuality, my pleasure, my genitals. It was all bad and wrong and taboo and sinful. So it's really difficult to really have amazing sex life when you have all these kind of limiting beliefs and ideas about your sexuality, about your eroticism. So that's why I struggled for a long time. I was even abused when I was younger, sexually abused. So all of that really added to my struggle in the bedroom. I couldn't orgasm. I couldn't really experience a lot of pleasure in the bedroom. And I felt like everybody else seemed to have this amazing sex life but me. So my journey really started as my own personal interest. I wanted to learn about great sex. I wanted to know what I was missing in terms of entering the world of amazing orgasms and mind-blowing sexual experiences. So that's where it all started. I started studying Tantra, and I really loved Tantra, and it started to give me amazing answers to my questions. And then I became a Tantra practitioner and certified Tantra teacher, and I started teaching Tantra. And then I thought I wanted to extend my toolkit even more, because a lot of people were coming to me with sexual problems that maybe Tantra wasn't the best answer for always. So I studied sexology, and then I studied counseling in order to help people with sexual trauma. So all of that really came together for me in becoming who I am, because I am so passionate about what I do, and I love working with people, and I love showing them the way towards great sex. But I needed to first of all to become the best expert that I could be in the area of sex.
We call this the When Harry Met Sally model of selling. You've seen the movie When Harry Met Sally. She's having an orgasm, and everybody else turns around and says, I want what she's having. So as a sex therapist, if you're getting the great orgasms, you've already proven that it works. And people are probably just saying, we want that. It's interesting you mentioned there about your journey as well. And we find that about 1 in 4 of our female clients has been sexually abused in their younger years, and about 1 in 6 men. So when they start to work with us, they're working on the mental and emotional blockages, but then they also need coaching, because it's not somebody that, your parents don't teach you how to have sex. School doesn't teach you how to have sex. They talk about safe sex, but they don't show you. So I believe for a lot of people, it's something that they're just learning through trial and error, but it doesn't make them good.
Exactly.
So you've been there, you've overcome these challenges. One of the things that you say is often our upbringing conditions us to believe that sex is taboo, wrong, inappropriate, and not to be talked about. And this can lead to inhibitions, sexual wounding, and a range of problems in our sex life. Could you share a couple of more insights of how this can impact our careers or our businesses? Could you give us some insights there?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, we are whole beings. We can't just disconnect one part of ourselves and say, I'm gonna I'm going to just forgo this part, and I'm going to forget it, and I'm just going to fulfill myself in other aspects of my life, which is what a lot of people try to do, because they do struggle sexually and they don't really know what to do about it. We don't really have great sources of proper sexual education. So many people just struggle and settle with that, with either mediocre sex life or no sex life, or dealing with different issues that push them into a place of shame or embarrassment or guilt, etc. And then what happens is, when this part, such a crucial, important part of who we are, our sexuality, is repressed or toxic or unfulfilling or unsatisfying, this will spill out into the rest of our lives. And specifically speaking, even of like kind of biological changes in the body, specifically for men, having a fulfilling sex life means really healthy levels of testosterone that then can be channeled into that deep creativity. So like literally a fulfilling, healthy, intimate, joyful, playful, and loving sex life will translate into our ability to express ourselves more creatively and more deeply in any other area of lives. And business is one of those areas, definitely. And I've worked with enough businessmen and business women to know that this is such an important part of their lives. And this does affect every single area of life.
We have seen a lot of men over the years whose testosterone have been very low. And once you get to talk to them, you find out that their sex life is terrible, or it doesn't even exist. And, masturbation, they have just done themselves dry on that. And they would really like a partner. So although they push it out of their awareness, it's still in the subconscious, and they're constantly looking, and they become very desperate and needy, and it does impact their performance. What about the ladies?
Lady, I do know that some of my friends that they talk about, when women we gave birth, it's the whole body transformation. Have you ever have some client or experience that, the clients come to you after they gave birth, they just lost the interest of having sex?
It does happen, although it's also very unique and very individual. So some women, this will be definitely the case. They will not really want to have sex anymore. They will all of their energy and attention will be poured onto the baby, and and that kind of becomes the center of their lives. But whenever that happens, I do try to sort of show them just how important the sexuality is as well, and that this isn't terribly healthy either, to forgo your sexuality and kind of put it in the corner for the time being, because your intimate connection with your partner is so important, and it's going to suffer when we sort of switch off the sexuality, just like our business life and our careers are going to suffer if we switch off our sex life. People who are truly and joyfully fulfilled in their sexuality, they bring such depth of wellness and satisfaction into the rest of their lives. This really works, and I've seen it enough times to know that these two are so linked and so connected.
Wow.
I believe, and I tell Nini all the time, I say, sweetheart, if you want me to make more sales, if you want to make more money, give me more sex.
This is how he control me.
It's not control, it's negotiation. And if I win a sale, I win a client, I say, hey, baby, I need a reward, because it's if you want more of those sales, just give me more sex.
I think you definitely bring out some of the very good points of view, and I know that for our audience and the follower, what kind of practical ideas that you think you can share with us today to stop those, self-sabotage and improve our sex lives? Some of the ideas.
I really love
anything
that
you tell Helena, anything you tell me right now, I'm going to implement. So I'm just going to warn Nini in advance. We're going to be your test case.
Okay. Fantastic. Your game. Fantastic. I love that. I really actually love that you put it in terms of self-sabotage, because, whether it's sex life or business or any other area of life, it is such a push-pull situation between what I want consciously. I want to have a great sex life. I want to have a beautiful relationship, amazing career, or a, flourishing business, etc. And there's also that kind of more subconscious part that is creating the sabotage, because these certain beliefs and thoughts and ideas are stopping us. So, like, you know, what I say to my clients is that as long as you see a difference or a gap between what you consciously want and what you are actually creating in your life, that means that there is a self-sabotage happening. There is some kind of unconscious, subconscious block. There are limiting beliefs. So when it comes to overcoming them and like really practically looking at creating an amazing sex life or amazing business for that matter as well, the first thing is to create awareness around where you are blocking yourself. When you say, I want to have great sex life, yet you grew up in a family that never really talked about sex, that never really expressed their affection with touch. You know, if you weren't really hugged as a child, if your parents on some kind of a level taught you that there's something wrong with touching yourself, or that your body is sinful, that, you know, your sexuality is somehow wrong and inappropriate, very likely these beliefs are still sitting there somewhere at the back of your head. And I actually find that in business as well, when people say, I want to make, you know, a lot of money in business. And if they're not making that, it's probably because there is some kind of belief, you know, toxic belief around money is the root of all evil. Money is bad. Rich people are greedy and horrible. And I would never, and I'm a good person, so I would never want to be like those people. So the first step is definitely examining those beliefs and what is really happening for you in your sex life, and examining like where potentially there is room for improvement in terms of that whole like mental aspect of, are you embracing your body as beautiful, sexual, capable of amazing pleasure? Are you giving yourself the right to have great orgasms, etc.?
I remember a client, and it's perfect example of what you're saying here, is that when he was younger, he was masturbating in the bathtub. He was just discovering himself, and his mum come in and just absolutely blasted him for masturbating and told him it was dirty and he can't play with his penis. So as a 40-year-old man, he deprived himself of sex because of this limiting belief. And that belief must have been somewhere in his mind for a good 32, 33 years. And he had to overcome that. So when he saw himself in the mirror, when he saw himself with his partner, he always felt dirty about it. And he felt so bad. But he really couldn't figure it out until that belief came back up to the surface.
Exactly. That really breaks my heart. Like every time I encounter cases like that, and there's so many of them, where we have been somehow hurt or shamed or, you know, conditioned in such a toxic way around, you know, sex is bad, sex is wrong, sex is something people do, you know, behind closed doors in the bedroom, and, you know, preferably you're married, and preferably it's only to make babies. Otherwise it's just all wrong. So many
or for the Queen. Sex on Sunday for the Queen. Or just to consummate the marriage.
That's right. Yeah, whereas sex, you know, is such a rich aspect of who we are, and we can have sex not only for procreation, but for pleasure, for connection, for entertainment, for exploration, for, you know, there's so many different ways for us to express ourselves sexually. And because this is a biological, natural, healthy aspect of who we are, it is actually very healthy to give that part of ourselves an expression. And a lot of people are troubled by that, because they also, like, I guess, judge their sexual expression because they feel like maybe their ideas don't match the standard vanilla sex kind of idea. You know, like most of us are kinky. Most of us have ideas that don't necessarily can be just confined into one type of sex. There's no wrong way of having sex as long as consenting adults are involved. There's no wrong way of having sex. And it can be such a rich and potent area of our lives to have fun with and to play with and to explore and gain so much satisfaction from.
Nini asks me, she says, Daniel, you're obsessed with sex. And I said, no, I'm not obsessed with sex. I said, it's my passion.
And I say to him, that's a weird passion.
It's not a weird passion. I used to be an athlete, and that was my passion. And now I'm married, and this is my passion.
Beautiful. I can definitely feel your positive energy, even just from the video, from the video call. I can just feel it. So brilliant. Yeah.
So for our followers and friends who'd like to learn more about your work, where should they start exploring your work? Should they go to your website? Is that the best place for them to start?
It is. Yeah, helenanista.com is the website. This is probably the best place to start. I'm also on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all of that. My handle is Helena Nista, just to keep it simple and easy.
Now, you're a certified sex geek. I love that shirt that you wear. I think that's on point. But I want to let the ladies know that this is for you, but I want to let the men know that it's also for them. And when you go to Helena's website, you will see dozens of testimonials from men. So, gentlemen, I encourage you to head over there right now as well. So, Helena, thank you so much for having us. It's been a true pleasure. We've learned a lot, and I will implement everything you've said, and I'll report back.
Okay, so deal? To hear that.
If the coach says we've got to do this, we have to do it. That's what we tell our clients. If the coach says it, you got to do it.
Okay.
Deal?
Okay.
No, the free answer.
Thank you, Helena. Thank you.
Thanks, Helena. Have a wonderful day.
Enjoy.
Thank you.
Bye.